Hello. So this is a little character I'm making, and the hope is I'll try and bring him around here so you can see him a bit better. The hope is this is one of the characters from a film project. I make these little maquettes so that I can understand what they look like in 3D. The film would be a 2D drawing. I mean, this is the first drawing of him here, but of course he's a Victorian, so he's got these huge whiskers, and he's also a member of the member of the legal profession. He's the usher, and so he's got one of these silly little wigs, and I'm going to give him a bow at the back, if it will fit. This stuff is simply amazing, and so as long as you keep it warm, it's very malleable, and when it goes cold, it becomes quite hard. It's a version of plasticine, and I find it extraordinarily helpful. So he's got these big chops, and eventually he's going to have this big cloak, and he's got these very pronounced eyebrows and this wonderful beaky nose, and this very strange mouth, which I think comes out a bit sort of. It looks in my mind. It's got that shape rather sort of like a lemon. I think it has a little point down here, but there's a lot of baggage in the cheeks, which would be great fun to animate. They're sort of moving around the place a great deal. But he does. Now, jurymen, hear my advice. All kinds of vulgar prejudice. I pray you set aside. I pray you set aside. And he's constant. I think his face is constantly moving. And he's got this little moment where he says, and the defendant, don't listen to him. And I think he taps his nose, so it has to be big enough to do that. So it's part of a much bigger project, and I've been working on this for about 15 years. And so I've storyboarded it, and now I'm getting down to trying to understand the characters. And the best way to understand the characters, I found, is to sculpt them. So if we set this up so it's not going to collapse in a heap of improbability. If we go over here, I've got a few more. This little fellow here, this is sort of ragamuffin who's selling newspapers at the beginning, and so for those of you who know Trial by Jury, it begins with hark the hour of 10 is sounding, hearts with anxious fears abounding. I think it should begin with this little fellow selling the the Daily Mail or something in 1880. This is a woman. She'll have a bonnet on, but again, she's got this wonderfully beaky nose, and she's one of the characters who gathers together outside the Royal Courts of Justice to celebrate the fact this amazing trial is taking place. And this is my first draft of the defendant who's weak. He has no chin, you see, and he's sort of he's a bit of a lad. He likes to have many girlfriends, so he has to be sort of good looking, but a little bit stupid, I think. Anyway, I'll try and keep you updated with the progress of this project, and in the meantime, I'm making two small films about the music hall, two small songs, one Burlington Bertie, and one is the night I appeared as Macbeth. In fact, this is my first model for that character, who has again quite a pronounced nose, and he's a soldier from the First World War, and I mean I don't stick very closely to this, but it's a way of understanding the fellow when he's in 3D when he moves around, because all animated characters, all drawings move around. If we come over here, I've got another one over here, which is this is, if you come around the back of me, you can see probably a bit better. This is a fellow called Burlington Bertie, and again, he doesn't quite look exactly like this in the final film, but it was a great way of trying to get to grips with the with the size of the body and the relationship of one part of his body to another. And so I realise now, while I'm drawing him, I make the head significantly smaller and much more mobile. But this was the version I started out with last summer, and now now I'm sort of halfway through animating him, which is rather fun. Anyway, there we are.